All right, fellas, what's going on? This is going to be a quick video right here. This is going to be the Week 3 NFL rundown. Let's get it. So this week, it looks like the storyline is changing a little bit. It seems like the teams we all call the bad teams in the NFL are the ones actually winning. Let's start off with the Giants and the Browns. So Malik Neighbors, that boy just earned a new contract after his rookie contract because he showed up. You know, he's the youngest player in the he's the youngest receiver in the NFL to have scored twice in a game. You know, the Giants have a playmaker now, and no one's questioning that anymore. Are they still a bad team? Maybe. We'll find out if this was more of a problem with the Browns than it was that the Giants are just that good in Week 3. We'll find out. But, you know, the Browns almost got shut out, man. They only scored in the first quarter and the fourth quarter in this game. Why was that? I don't know. We got to really figure out what's going on with the Browns because it's not a talent issue. Not at all. They have talent everywhere. But for some reason, they're just not putting these games together. So we got to figure that out. Next, we got to go over to the Broncos and the Buccaneers. Who had the Buccaneers when losing this game? And be honest with yourself, because if you're watching this, you did not have the Buccaneers losing this game, unless you're a Broncos fan. That's different, you know. But no one's seen this coming. And last week, everyone was saying, "Man, look at the Buccaneers. Look at the likes of Baker Mayfield. Look how well he's playing and all this stuff." And then what happened, and we're just like, wait a minute, what's actually going on here? Bo Nix came out and played lights out. Third downs were being converted once again by the Broncos. They protected the ball. Everything they did not do the first 2 weeks, they cleaned up in this game, and the Broncos defense showed up throughout the game. Now, maybe the Buccaneers were just not ready for the altitude. You know, it is Mile High Stadium, so that one can be a little tough. But the Buccaneers definitely didn't look the same, and they could have just been gassed because of the altitude. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Next, we got to go on to the Bears and the Colts. Whew, man. The overthrown pass to Rome Odunze was kind of the story of the game. Let's just be honest. He was probably overthrown by 10 to 15 yards. And, you know, there were chances, but nothing was capitalized on for the Bears. The mistakes are still adding up for Caleb Williams, and give him time, guys. That boy can play. Just give him time. Let him adjust to the game. Let him adjust to the NFL. Let him realize the speed of the game. Let him realize that he's not alone. He doesn't have to be Superman out there. You know, maybe when he realizes his O-line should give him a little bit more time, maybe at least 3 seconds before he has to run for his life. There's a lot of work that has to be done on all sides, but I still think he's going to be something. You know, they got rid of the offensive coordinator and got a better offensive coordinator for him. They put talent around him and all that stuff. It just has to mold together, but you got to give him time, man. It's hard to come out of college and just play lights out the way everybody expects. The NFL is a different game, and the guys on the defense are getting paid too. You know, just give him time. Packers and the Titans. The Titans came up. They gave up Malik Willis way too soon. I thought Malik Willis would have been someone who can develop in the NFL very well, but once again, coaching matters. If you don't coach the talent, it's probably not going to do too much. So Malik Willis comes out and beats his own team. He played the way we know he can play, even at Liberty, the way he played. We know he can play that way. You know, this is a big win for the Packers. It's showing that they're doing great coaching. They have a great backup for when Jordan Love comes back. Now you know you have that talent that's back there in case your quarterback gets hurt. They have a lot of talent around Malik Willis on the team right now. And this is a question that I asked for college football, but how many NFL teams have a backup like Malik Willis or like Andy Dalton being the old backup, now the starter, that they can just count on to come in and win games like this? I mean, it's pretty impressive. All right, next we're going to go to the Steelers-Chargers. The Steelers did something that other teams could not do to the Chargers in the first 2 weeks, which was stop that running game. Of course, you know, Harbaugh being the coach in LA, obviously he's going to set up a running game. That's not a secret. That's just well known. That's what he does. He's run first in football. That's just what it is. So again, the same thing has to be said. The Bears are missing Justin Fields, but he is long gone and undefeated so far. He is playing great once again. He threw 25 for 32, 245 yards, one touchdown, one INT. And, the Steelers defense shut out the running game of the Chargers, and they just couldn't get it going. Again, Herbert only threw the ball 18 times this time. Last week it was like 24 times or something like that. And he only completed 12 this week. But, when the run is not working for the Chargers, they have to change that game plan up a little bit, But Herbert was a little bit hurt, and then he hurt his ankle again. So to back up the defense and establish the run, you got to be able to throw the ball. You got to give them something to think about. But if you're just going to run, they're going to stack the box. But 18 passing plays for the whole game is probably not enough in the NFL, I don't think. It's still a passing league, but running backs matter. And I'm sorry, but we have proof of that with Jacob Dobbins and so many other running backs, especially like Christian McCaffrey in the league. Running backs matter. We can no longer say they don't. The Texans and the Vikings. Whoo! I thought the Texans would have a better day, but the Vikings had the perfect defensive game plan for this. They were able to confuse C.J. Stroud, give him looks that he's never seen, give him things that, he had to pay attention to that were just not normal to him every day. Justin Jefferson had an amazing day, but in all honesty, most corners can't cover Justin Jefferson one-on-one, but it's a different ask to cover him for 8 seconds. That's a whole different story. There were some times where he had 6 seconds, 8 seconds. He's going to get open. He's going to cook you on the field. So I don't even know why people are shocked that the scoreboard was the way it is. He had his amazing day. Once again, I don't expect anyone to cover him for that long. What's crazy is Stephon Diggs had more yards than Justin Jefferson, but the production was just felt with Jefferson versus Diggs in this game. And I bet if you look at the stat sheet and you're like, wait, Stephon Diggs had more yards than Jefferson? I can't remember how many times he actually caught the ball because the whole storyline was Jefferson. That's just what it is. And then that Vikings defense had all making everything look awkward. So this one was a win for coaching on the Vikings' part, confusing C.J. Stroud. They did a great job. And C.J. Stroud is going to learn from this. So the Vikings better come up with another idea in case they ever meet again, because that's probably not going to work again. C.J.'s just too good for that. All right. Cowboys, Ravens. America's team just looks a little... Man, I don't know what it is, I'm still trying to figure out what the Cowboys are actually doing, because this is another team where I'm like, offensive talent is not the problem, but they have no offensive production. On defense is definitely their weak point right now. They do not have a good defense, and they cannot stop the run. That's just what it is. The game was domination from the get-go for the Ravens. It was 28-3 in the fourth quarter, and one would think the game was over, but scoring 19 points unanswered by the Cowboys, getting the onside kickback, and that changed the whole momentum of the game. But then they were still 4 points off the board from a two-point conversions that failed. Then you give up 2 first downs to the Ravens, causing you to come up short by 3 points to lose the game. So those 2-point conversions could have made a difference in the game if you just kicked extra points and then needed a field goal in the end to do something. It could have changed the whole aspect of the game. But that's why we have to play the game. You can be up 28-3 and Tom Brady comes back and beats you in the Super Bowl as well. You never know. You just got to play the game. Chiefs, Falcons. Now, how to lose a game hotline for the Atlanta Falcons. That's what this game is about, because the Falcons should have won this game hands down. But they worked really hard to find a way to lose this game, and I still don't fully understand why. Too many opportunities that they just gave up and that they should have capitalized on. In the end, when they decided to go for that 4th down, that made no sense. 4th down in 4 minutes, you're down 5 points, kick the field goal. If you get the ball back, you only need a field goal to win the game. You're down 5 points. Why would you try to go for that 4th down with 4 minutes left to go? Most likely you'll get the ball back and your defense will be pumped up now that you're only 2 points down. But that's not what they did. They went for the fourth down, and that was a really bad coaching decision. But they ended up getting the ball back, went back to the red zone, another fourth down, turnover. And that's how the game ends. So for me, this was really more about the Chiefs just doing enough to win the game on their side. But in all honesty, it was just bad coaching from the Falcons to lose the game. That's, at the end of the day, what this actually was. And that's just a quick rundown for week 3, fellas. Actually, there has to be something else that we talk about. The Bengals. Whew. The Bengals. I don't know what to make of Cincinnati right now. They're 0-3 to start the season. They lost pretty bad yesterday. They really did have a chance to come back, but they just didn't do enough. I don't know what's going on with the Bengals. I can't tell if it's their defense that's the problem or if it's their offensive efficiency, they're not scoring enough, or what. But none of it actually makes any logical sense to me. I'm still trying to figure it out. But if we got some Bengals fans listening, guys, please leave a comment on the bottom and tell me what you think the actual problem is with the team at the moment, and we'll have that conversation. But thank you guys for listening to this rundown. Peace out, y'all.